We think back to the 2016 election, and we think of the reefer madness, and how, like, wherever there was legalization, there was these ridiculous efforts from, quite frankly, like, well-invested people to try to keep marijuana illegal wherever they were trying to make it legal. And we had to endure some of the same vicious slanders, lies, stereotypes, generalizations, fear, campaign of fear, talking about, oh, you're going to have all these drug drivers and there's going to be a pot shop on every corner and all your kids are going to start smoking crack. And, oh, your little infant's going to catch up and eat one of those brownies and then they're going to die, of course. And, all this shit is just getting so hard to deal with and, to consume it and whatnot. So you had one of these people that were doing this, Incest Therapeutics. Incest, it sounds so close to incest, it's like, why would you name your name Incest Therapeutics? Why the fuck would you do that? Are you into incest? I mean, maybe incest isn't like a bad thing, and maybe I'm just being not politically correct by criticizing incest, but I mean, I'm not criticizing incest itself, although I'm not into it, and I think it's fucking disgusting, but maybe that's just a matter of opinion these days. I don't know. There's a lot of crazy shit going on. There is no normal. And when you think about the people at Incest Therapeutics, they're the farthest thing from normal. First of all, these guys are the ones that put like $500,000 on effort to stop legalization in Arizona. And what that means, though, is that they just dropped $500,000 on commercials talking about how there's going to be pot shops on every corner. I think one of the big talking points in Arizona was how many pot shops actually were closed, or how many towns and cities had made ordinances to prevent pot shops from even opening in their city or whatever in Colorado. And, and that didn't fly too good, because it wasn't really true, I mean, it was just like they were cherry-picking data and using old data and shit to make these claims. Now, they also made this claim that the money that they were getting in Colorado, the tax money, wasn't actually going to the things that they said it was going to go to, specifically schools and police agencies. Now, I would argue, why the fuck does marijuana tax money specifically need to go to those areas? Because you guys are too busy making it so your rich buddies don't have to pay taxes to help those areas out. Yeah, I understand that. But besides that, why is it the marijuana tax responsibility to cover all these tabs that the government can't seem to float anymore because they don't want to? Like pensions that they promise people and good wages. Actually having enough police to police your area or whatever. Police your city. So we have Incest Therapeutics. They were one of the biggest investors, I guess you would call it, on this reefer madness in 2016. One of the biggest. You always got your Sheldon Adelsons and your Discount Tires and your Publix. All these people tried their hardest and put as much money as they could towards it. The only one that was successful, I don't think they were successful. Alright, let's just get that cleared up right here and now. I don't think the reefer madness is why Arizona didn't pass their recreational marijuana. I don't think it was that. I think really what it was people just aren't there yet in Arizona. The state is a fucking right-wing nightmare. So I wasn't expecting anything to come out of there good. So look, you got this incest therapeutic situation where I did a story about it a few months back where they got busted for basically bribing doctors, telling doctors to fake, incentivizing doctors through speaker fees or some shit to fake people's diagnoses so that they could get this fentanyl mouth spray that they make. And not only were they faking diagnoses, but by doing that, they were lying to insurance companies to pay for these drugs, and they were lying to the DEA, who you're supposed to report. Is this fucking real? What is going on? Yo. Yeah, that is. There we go. All right. That was a distinct time when the microphone was not on. Hopefully I can fix that later. But anyway, moving along. So, long story short, is all these guys got busted. All these sales reps for incest therapeutics, they got busted. They got busted for fucking doing this crazy scheme to lie and get, sell their fentanyl to people that really shouldn't have had it. One of these guys is a guy named Jeffrey Perlman. And let's just go ahead and read this. Now, remember that one of the pillars of reefer madness is that it's a gateway drug that will lead you down that dark road to heroin where you're going to end up dying or worse. And, yeah, it's a gateway drug for that. And B, and it might not be all the way the fault of Big Pharma pushing this narrative out, but incest is definitely guilty because they want to get a patent. They want to patent a medicine that's synthetic THC for basically the munchies for chemo. This works just fine, dude. Don't need your synthetic THC. But they got their approval by the FDA for this, to do the research. Unfucking believable, right? Meanwhile, this is the same company that fought against this kind of marijuana being recreationally legal. And they also, back when Arizona was pushing for their medical marijuana, which they have now, incest was leading the fight there. But one of their ideas is that marijuana is not medicine. Marijuana is not medicine. Remember that. It's no good for pain. And if it is good for munchies, we can make a synthetic product that's better. That's what incest therapeutics is all about, in a nutshell. In case you didn't know, you just got your primer on what the fuck's been going on for the last year with incest therapeutics. Their stocks have been like, I don't know which way you're going here, but from left to right, they're going down, a really steady decline. Because this isn't the first time that they've been caught with, your sales reps out there making doctors give people scripts for shit that they shouldn't have. It's not the first time, guys, and it won't be the last. This company is running in the billions of dollars, and basically, when something like this comes along, it's just a little bump in the road. They might have to fire a few people or whatever, but they might go to bat for these people too at the same time, and they might win, and they might just end up having to pay some fines. And that's what the fuck happens. It's called the cost of doing business to these idiots. Meanwhile, they are fucking killing people. You know what they sell? Did I forget to tell you? It's a straight up mouth sprayer, like you've seen people with asthma, where you spray and it goes in and you can inhale it if you want. That's what this thing is. But it has fentanyl in it. And fentanyl, in case you didn't know, is 50 times stronger than heroin. Whoa. So a U.S. judge has rejected a former incest therapeutics employee's arguments that he had a constitutional right to use marijuana while under indictment for what federal prosecutors call a scheme to pay kickbacks to doctors to prescribe an opioid drug. The Fentynil Mouth Spray, by the way. Jeffrey Perlman, former incest district sales manager had sought to modify his bail conditions so that he could continue using marijuana prescribed by a New Jersey doctor to help kick an opioid addiction he developed after a spine injury. Big surprise that somebody that runs around town selling deadly fentanyl mouth spray is addicted to the shit too. Didn't you ever hear Biggie Smiles' crack commandments, dude? Don't get high on your own supply. What are you thinking? Anyway, apparently he don't really like that. He don't really like being addicted to opioids. Perlman is one of several former employees and executives of the Arizona-based incest to face U.S. charges related to Subsys, an under-the-tongue spray intended for cancer patients containing fentanyl, an addictive and regulated synthetic opioid. His lawyers argued that requiring Perlman to give up his medical marijuana would force him to return to using opioids, impairing his constitutional rights to fully participate in his defense and due process. So what you're saying is on medical marijuana, you have the faculties to fight for your constitutional rights and fully participate in your defense. But if you're on these opioids, you will have your ability to do that impaired. It sounds to me like you like medical marijuana better than you like opioids. And if I'm not mistaken, in New Jersey, it's probably just some smokable bud that you're talking about. I would like to know that. I would like to know exactly what kind of medical marijuana this guy's got. I know New Jersey's got a really shitty system and a low amount of dispensaries or whatever, but anyway, here we go. U.S. Magistrate Judge Sarah Merriam in New Haven, Connecticut, said on Friday that the argument rested on the faulty assumption that Perlman would have to go back to using opioids when, in fact, other treatment options do exist. Other reasonable treatments exist indeed in states with no medical marijuana law or more restrictive laws. Patients with defendant's condition must use other forms of treatment, she wrote. Easy for you to say, doctor, but maybe, or I should say judge, because she's actually a judge. But the thing is this guy's talking about not just for the pain, but that this is helping him kick his addiction. So I think, although he's not prescribed or given his medical marijuana card or whatever you got to do in New Jersey, that wasn't done because he had he wrote on his form that he was addicted to opioids and wanted to kick them. He got the marijuana for the pain. But the fact is he's trying to kick his opioids, and you're basically saying that you know more than he does about, how to treat his condition. Are you a doctor or a fucking judge? Now, I hate to go to bat for a piece of shit like Perlman, but in my opinion, this was a rare opportunity for a judge to be an activist. And you hear right-wingers and left-wingers alike complain about activist judges. But hey, I'll tell you what. If you were in a situation, you would want the fucking judge to be an activist too. And all it means for a judge to be an activist is to go a little bit outside of what's written on the thing, like you have to do this, this, and this. It's like an instruction manual that you hand the judge. Like, okay, if this happens, and here's your instructions. A judge should have the discretion to be a judge, for fuck's sakes. All right, defendants who are out on bail are also required not to violate federal law and that possession of marijuana, even if legal under state law, remains illegal under federal law, Merriam said. Now, all of her points are true, valid, they're the law, they're this, they're that. But again, man, compassion and whatnot, medical marijuana, you're going to send this guy out there and he's going to get right back on opioids. I think I just did a video where I was talking about the opioid thing. It's coming up almost every damn day now. I can't even do a video without hitting it. But basically what I was saying is that in situation after situation, people are being pushed into opioids because of pain management. And it's just like, I'm about to do another story about it. So is this the doctor's fault? Is this the medical community's fault? Is it the patient's fault? Whose fault is it? When the choice between medical marijuana and opioids is put before somebody. I seen a kind of scientific poll. I mean, I don't know if I trust the source 100%, but I seen something like 93% of all patients said that they would rather have medical marijuana for pain than opioids. I mean, I guess if the 7% that said opioids probably are just don't believe in medical marijuana, just don't know about it, just don't know what it can do. And I think this poll was done in California. Don't quote me on that. I think I already screwed that up. But anyway, this poll was probably done somewhere where medical marijuana is a thing and people are using it. All those places, opioid use has gone way down, big time, big numbers. So make whatever argument you want, but what this is a judge acting like a doctor, acting like an activist in the other way. You know, like, I'm going to fully enforce this shit even though I know it's going to hurt this person. And that's the problem with the drug war all around. Like, the better judgment is to not give the 16-year-old kid a fucking ticket for marijuana. Because it's going to put a scar on his life for some reason. That's just the stigma of the fucking thing that we live in now. You know, like, we're letting this shit happen because the law's on the books, and nobody's being allowed to have any discretion. So, well, you know, this decision could possibly push this guy back into opioid addiction. Federal prosecutors in Boston in December charged 6 ex-incest employee executives and managers, including former chief executive Michael Babich, who prosecutors say participated in a scheme to bribe doctors to prescribe substances. They have pleaded not guilty. Incest has said it is working towards a settlement with the U.S. Justice Department. Yeah, that's what I said. They're just going to pay a big fine or a bunch of fucking bribery money and be on their way to making more profits. Prosecutors said Perlman and sales representatives he managed induced doctors, advanced practice registered nurses, and physicians' assistants to prescribe incest fentanyl spray by paying them to participate in sham speaker programs. Speaker fees range from $1,000 to several $1,000s, prosecutors said. One Connecticut healthcare provider who participated in these programs earned $83,500 in kickbacks to prescribe incest fentanyl spray. Perlman has pled not guilty to conspiring to violate the anti-kickback laws. He is scheduled to face trial in November. Now, I'm sure that this speaker, engagement thing, it's kind of like a window into how these corrupt politicians and corrupt people get corrupted. Is they can say, well, I can't just hand you $100,000, Hillary Clinton, or $300,000 or whatever. But if you come and do a speech, then we can pay you for the speech. What's your speaking fee? And that's what we're seeing here. Just some fake ass shit. Like incest says, hey, doctor, prescribe all the as many people as you can prescribe. We'll give you $2,000, $3,000 per person that you get on this fentanyl shit. And it's like, I'm sure every doctor knows the 3 or 4 people that they have in their books that would be glad to get, this fentanyl spray. So I don't know what else to say about this other than I don't think this judge has a very big heart, but then again, maybe this judge has an axe to grind. Everybody's been affected by this opioid epidemic that's going on right now. And nobody, everybody wishes they had a solution or an answer or something, but when you have the ability to enact justice or legal ramifications, when you can basically cause somebody's life to get churned upside down, well, when you're Perlman, when you're Jeffrey Perlman in this situation, not too many judges are gonna like you. You're gonna get fucked with, and this is just one of those places where Jeffrey Perlman is getting fucked with big time.